Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Pruitt. Hope y'all are doing well. Unbelievable as always. It is a Tuesday here this week, I think. I'm not sure. I'm still playing catch up just a little bit, but I wanted to do a quick video to share some information that I've received from the folks over at Adobe, just in case you haven't seen it online just yet. Amongst all of the gazillion of CES emails that I've been getting for the last 2 weeks, I got an email from Adobe talking about some of the updates that they've just released for the world of Lightroom. And this isn't just Lightroom Classic, but this is also for Lightroom CC, which includes the mobile devices as well as your computer. Some of the stuff seems pretty legit and something that I could work into my workflow, and some of it I really didn't think much about it. But what I want to do is just share with you the information that was given to me just a little while ago. So I'm in the middle of doing the updates for the system and seeing if all of this is going to work out pretty well for me, but I'll get into that a little bit later on. So first of all, within regards to Lightroom Classic, that's the version that I use the most. You can now update the develop module. All of this information can be found on the Adobe blog. That's the blog.adobe.com, and it'll have all of that stuff in there. But you can take the develop module inside of Lightroom and customize it to look a little bit better and work a little bit more for you. I'm not so sure how I think about that because I've been using Lightroom Classic for so long. I'm sort of used to how things are laid out. You know, I like that the way it was laid out originally. You start at the top and work your way down inside of the menus as you're processing your images, and it just worked. You know, you started with your white balance and you went to your exposure, clarity, saturation, so on and so forth. And then when you got into the more customizable things like split toning and lens corrections and things like that, all of that was down at the bottom, because that's probably some of the things that you should do after you've gotten your image properly exposed and sharpened up and whatnot. But that's just my 2 cents. As far as the Lightroom CC version, there are some updates to allow you to share your actual images from Lightroom CC a little bit easier. Now you can, take a picture and download it and send it out to social media and all of that. But what if you want to do a group? They've made it a little bit better and a little bit easier to just hit that share option, and it'll create a URL that'll allow people to open up a web page and see all of the images that you want to share. Pretty much like an album for things like you see on some other social media platforms, even like what Google has done with its Photos app. And I think that's okay. I can't say I'll be using that very often, but I like the idea of it. I like the fact that they're trying to continue to push things towards the cloud and allowing you to access it on whatever device, as well as allowing you to share things as easily as possible to the masses, to your friends, followers, and so forth. One thing that also stood out about the Lightroom update, and I'm going to read this just off the screen here. It says Lightroom CC for Android and Chrome OS. And it talks about having the ability to use Lightroom on the web via Ethernet. I don't quite get that, because I've been using Lightroom on my Chromebook, then the web interface, for quite some time now, and my Chromebook does not connect via Ethernet. It's all via Wi-Fi. I reached out to the PR team to ask what exactly was meant by that statement. I haven't heard back yet, but it's all good. It's available on the web at lightroom.adobe.com, and it works just fine. I wish there was a little more adjustment brush capabilities inside of that version, but for now, I can still work with it on my Chromebook just to get the, the minimal stuff done. Now, granted, some of these features, such as the actual album version of this feature, that's only if you have a Creative Cloud subscription that'll allow you to do that. In other words, if you don't have the Creative Cloud, you should be able to share your images. You just won't be able to share them as a massive group the way that this new update has worked out for it. As I continue to read the updates off of my phone as it updated inside of the mobile app a little while ago, I like the fact that the Adobe Camera Raw integration is getting better. I use that a lot inside of Lightroom Classic, where it allows me to make sure my images are being calibrated based on my particular camera type. If you're shooting Canon, if you're shooting a specific lens, you're going to be subject to, you know, vignetting and bowing of your images at times. And there's usually just a one button click inside of Lightroom that will fix that for you and flatten out your image and make it look a lot better. And, you know, it'll try to sharpen those edges a little bit for you too. It doesn't happen for all lenses and all cameras, but, you know, this day and age, everybody is not necessarily tuned in the same way. Especially if you're shooting something like a wide angle or a fisheye lens, you might get a little bit of image distortion and you have to fix that. I know that they've added some drone profiles. The DJI profiles in there are working pretty good for me. So it allows you to shoot your drone images and it'll flatten them out so you don't get like that curved horizon that's pretty prominent with action cameras or drones. Now those are some pretty big updates for Lightroom CC and Lightroom Classic, but there's something else that I wanted to touch on beyond that, and it's still in the world of Adobe, and that's the Adobe Photoshop for mobile devices, which is called Adobe Photoshop Express. Now this isn't the full version of Photoshop, but it still gives you a great deal of capability to go in and edit your photos and do actual photo manipulation. The recent update has added some additional filters as part of a beta, and these things look really, really great. I'll try to put some B-roll on the screen where you can see what I'm talking about, but it's not necessarily like adding a color overlay over your filter like what you would see with Instagram. These are actual filters that you can use as part of a composite. You know, I like the idea that if I'm shooting outside somewhere and I take a pretty shot, but the sky doesn't look the way that I want it to look, I can use one of these filters that has a Cosmo look and it'll look a little bit better, giving me a nice Milky Way to look at, or even some solar flares and things like that, you know, you can just tastefully add them to your image and just blend them in pretty easily. This is a pretty big update inside of that app that just gives it a little more power. Make sure you're using a nice flagship phone though, because it does take a little bit of horsepower to run. All right, so that's it for all of the updates regarding Adobe Lightroom and Adobe Photoshop for your mobile device. If you don't have an Adobe subscription, you can get it at as little as $10 a month. I'm an authorized Adobe affiliate. I will put a link in the bottom of this video description and you can just try that out. I'll get a little bit of commission on that and so forth, but you can get it as little as $10 a month, and that's going to include Photoshop and Lightroom and some cloud storage to allow you to work on the go. I will have another video for you guys soon. Got a lot of updates. I want to do some stuff for the holidays and share some more tips and tricks on how to be a better digital content creator, whether it's photography, video, or writing, and so forth. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the share button and the like button and leave me a comment with your thoughts and all of your likes and dislikes and all of that good stuff, because I want to continue to provide what you guys enjoy. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all on the next video. Peace out.